I'd like to welcome you all to this board retreat. Ladies and gentlemen, today is not about looking at the past. It's about casting a new way forward. It's about renewal.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Board of Directors of
Hello, once again, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
So that they don't come to the front too. Hello, please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. Please move to the front seat by the first 2 rows, so that when those who come late can listen. Okay, Minister of FCT, yes, FCT Minister, if he comes.
I'm from PP.
I'm from Kashona.
So short you are clear there.
That's your gas there.
I'm Minister of State. That's if the FCT Minister comes.
Okay.
But if he doesn't come, 6 next. Yes. Hello, how are you?
Okay, he wanted an update today.
Today, how many do we have? How many ministers now? Okay, no, one of them the PP. Fine.
They are up like you don't need them.
All right, fine. Take it off.
Just
No person here. The ministers are not here. I will take that collectively. Don't worry. Leave the salutation.
and it's an honor to be here today in front of our distinguished AGM Bureau, the representatives of different governments, and also our board members here.
Can we put our hands together for the Nigerian Police Band? Thank you so much for those sonorous music. Once again, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's just a soft reminder that this is a public occasion. And so we want to respectfully advise that we are cautious, we are alert with our gadgets, particularly our phones, our laptops, our passports, and any vital document you think is precious to you. We want to respectfully invite that we keep them safe. Thank you very much. Police band, once again, please go on. Thank you.
City. Okay. Let me tell you something. Not just our. We're ready. We're ready. Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, please let's settle down. Please let's settle down. Let's settle down. We're about starting now. Let's settle down. Mrs. Larry Adams, please. Mrs. Larry Adams. Mrs. Larry Adams. Please, let's all take our seats. The chairperson of Shelter Afrique, please. Mrs. Larry Adams. Hello, please let's have a seat. We're commencing in just a minute. So you're the first. I know I will go. Don't worry. Just wait. Okay. Yes. No, you sit. Yeah. Any representative of the minister from the FCT? Please, can you make your way up, please, sir? Be careful there. Yes, we will commence in a minute. Yes, yes. What do you want? Ladies and gentlemen, please let's rise for the national anthem of Nigeria and that of the African Union. We'll remain standing for you.
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend liberty and justice. All sides and daughters of Africa, flesh on the sky, flesh on the sky. Let us make Africa dream. Let us all speak together to unlock the walls that frame destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for love, peace, and justice on all sons and daughters of Africa. Flesh on the sky, flesh on the sky. Let us make Africa the tree of love. Let us all unite and join together to give the best we have to Africa. The bread of mankind, the font of culture, of the break of dawn. All sons and daughters of Africa, flesh on the sky, flesh on the sky. Let us make Africa the tree of love.
Let's be seated, please. Thank you. My name is Akin Oyateru. I'll be your main anchor for this program. And with me is Mrs. Blessing Larry Adams. You're all most welcome to the 42nd Annual General Meeting of Shelter Afrique. His Excellency Professor Yemi Oshibajo, SAN, GCON, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who will be ably represented by the Minister. His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, CON, Minister of Works and Housing, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Her Excellency Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance and National Planning, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Honorable Umar El Yakub, Honorable Minister of State, Federal Republic of Nigeria. The outgoing chairman of the Shelter Afrique Bureau, Honorable Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities, Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Daniel Gawe. All ministers present here, all heads of delegation, you are most welcome. The chairperson, Shelter Afrique Board of Directors, Dr. Chi Apoji. Members of the board here present. The Managing Director of Shelter Afrique, Mr. Teno Habib Han. All members of delegations, participants, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, we welcome the media as well. I will call on the representative of the Minister of FCT, Honorable Mohammed Bello, ably represented here by the Permanent Secretary, Mr. Olushade Adeshola, to please come forward and present the welcome address. Please let's give him a round of applause as he does that.
His Excellency, the Vice President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented, the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, the Honorable Ministers here present, the executives of the Shelter Afrique, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to be present here today to represent my Honorable Minister at this event and to welcome you to our beautiful city of Abuja. As you all know, by its name, Shelter Afrique is an organization that is saddled with the responsibility of providing affordable housing or accommodation generally in the continent. It is a well-known fact that the major desire of every working class person is to own their own homes. This need had been identified in previous theories of motivation, expanded by such researchers and authors as Abraham Maslow in 1943 and Frederick I. Hesberg, even in his own version of the theory of motivation way back in 1968. What all this speaks to is that the desire to own your own house is fundamental. And for us in the FCT, this is a particularly great need. Living in the FCT, once your accommodation or housing need is met, I believe more than 60% of your desires are achieved. And therefore, for us, the administration has continued to pay great premium to supporting initiatives that will enable Nigerian members, Nigerian residents and citizens to own their accommodation. Early in the year, the administration joined the Ministry of Works in launching, laying the foundation stone of a housing estate, particularly for the working class in Gwagwalada. And the event of today is another addition and testament to the commitment of the administration of His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, to the provision of housing for the workforce. Hosting this 42nd meeting in Nigeria is indeed a very welcome development, and we are glad to be associated with it. We look forward to see the resolution and decisions of the AGM of Shelter Afrique and the deliberations that will follow to address some of the critical needs and to provide solutions to challenges mitigating against housing ownership in Nigeria. On behalf of the Honorable Minister, Malam Mohammed Musa Bello, the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Amatu Tijani Aliyu, who ordinarily would have loved to be here, but they have to preside over the executive committee meeting of the FCT as if it were one of the states of the federation. I welcome you to FCT, and noting that this event is a 3-day event that spans from today till 11th, I also want to enjoin you to take out some of your time to savor the beauties and elegance of the city. Visit some of our tourist centers and the facilities that we have in the city. I assure you, you will enjoy every bit of your stay in the city. On this note, I welcome you and wish you very fruitful deliberations. Thank you.
Please, let's give him a warm round of applause once again for the warm welcome that has been extended to all the participants at this annual general meeting. Now it's my pleasure to invite the chairperson of Shelter Afrique Board of Directors, Dr. Patience Chi Apoji, to make introductory remarks. Madam Chairperson, please. Please give her a warm round of applause.
The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here by the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, the Honorable Minister himself for Works and Housing, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, CON, Her Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Finance of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, the current chair of the AGM Bureau and the chairperson of the 41st AGM, Honorable Minister Daniel Garwe from Zimbabwe, Honorable Minister of State for Works and Housing, here present with us, all other ministers here present with us and their representatives, permanent secretaries, other high officials representing the various shareholders of Shelter Afrique, all other protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my singular pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this morning's opening ceremonies for Shelter Afrique's 42nd Annual General Meeting. My name, as Ambassador Yateru introduced, my name is Chi Apoji. I am the chairperson of the Board of Directors of Shelter Afrique, and I represent the African Development Bank on the Board of Directors of Shelter Afrique. Let me start by thanking our hosts for this meeting, our chief host, His Excellency, Honorable Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN CON, for hosting this meeting in collaboration with Shelter Afrique. Let me also thank our city host, the Honorable Minister for the Federal Capital Territory, ably represented by his representative, Mr. Adeshola. Let me also thank the management and staff in the ministry for all the hard work that they put in getting this off the ground. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we're here
to review the status quo of your company, Shelter Afrique. Your company has gone through quite some turbulence in its history, but we're also here to celebrate the inauguration of a new dawn at Shelter Afrique. At Shelter Afrique, we speak of a new dawn, of Shelter Afrique 3.0, of Shelter Afrique that is being positioned on the path to growth, to sustainability, and to profitability. We're also here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to solicit your listening ear and your support over the next few days, and more especially during the AGM itself, as we present our various programs and initiatives designed to implement or help us execute this new dawn that we talk about at Shelter Afrique. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we all know that the year 2022 marked the end of the pandemic, but also began on a bad note with the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, the most significant global event of the year. Since the war, the world has had trouble with food shortages, supply chain issues, and changes, inflation, and rises in interest rates. The global economy's growth rate was projected by institutions such as the IMF and the World Bank to slow down to 3.2% from its high of 6% in 2021, the weakest growth profile for global economy since 2001. Meanwhile, global inflation forecasts rose to 8.8% from 4.7% the previous year. Indeed, the cost of living crisis, the tightening of financial conditions, and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, among other events, weighed heavily on the outlook. In Africa, obviously, economies were impacted by this development. The African Development Bank's flagship report, known as the African Economic Outlook, estimated the average growth of Africa's GDP for the period under review to have slowed to 3.4% from 4.6% in 2021. Yet, despite the economic slowdown, 53 of Africa's 54 countries posted positive growth. So in essence, despite the numerous challenges this period presented, sharp resilience continued to show. With multiple housing projects funded and commissioned across the continent, we continue to deliver on our mandate for better, affordable housing for Africans. We've cemented our stakeholder and influence in the built environment, yet our future depends on how we adapt to changes. We are grateful for the continued financial backing we get from nations, from you, our shareholders, that share our mission. And we wish to reaffirm our commitment to the vision of decent and affordable housing in Africa. We're also exploring practical ways to improve our impact on the housing market across our member countries. On behalf of Shelter Afrique, the board, and management of Shelter Afrique and all member states, I would like to again express my deepest gratitude to the government of Nigeria under the leadership of His Excellency President Muhammad Buhari, GCON, to the Vice President and to the Honorable Minister for their enduring commitment to the goals of Shelter Afrique. Last but not least, I thank all participating countries, stakeholders, clients, media, and other members for their role in making housing in Africa more accessible and affordable. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier on, we're here to solicit your listening ear, your support as we present our programs over the next few days. There will be a ministerial roundtable, which we're expecting you all to participate proactively. This will be followed by the symposium on the built environment, political economy and the built environment in Nigeria, and of course the AGM itself. We speak, as I said earlier on, of a new dawn of Shelter Afrique. And as an embodiment of that spirit of new dawn, Shelter Afrique recently embarked on a competitive recruitment process for a new MD. That process was completed late last year, and the new MD assumed office January 10th this year. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to formally welcome the new MD for Shelter Afrique, Mr. Tierno Habib Han, to his very first AGM for Shelter Afrique. Please give him a round of applause. So thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. I'll be interacting with many of you during the course of the next few days. Thank you once again. I now hand over to the new MD to provide more granular details on what we're all about at Shelter Afrique. Thank you once more. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, my esteemed chair of the board. Your Excellency, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, duly represented here by His Excellency Honorable Babatunde Yemi Fashola, Minister of Works and Housing of the Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Mr. Babatunde Fashola, also representing here his own ministry, Her Excellency Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, the chairperson of the Shelter Afrique AGM Bureau and Minister of National Housing and Social Amenities of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Honorable Daniel Garwe, Honorable Minister of State for Works and Housing, Honorable Umar Ibrahim El Yaqub, and Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, duly represented here as well, and the second vice chairman of the AGM Bureau and the Minister of Infrastructure of Rwanda, Dr. Ernest Sabimana, our shareholders, heads of delegations of the 44 member countries and institutional shareholders, the board, management, and staff of Shelter Afrique, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 42nd Annual General Meeting. As many of you know, this is my first AGM as the new Managing Director, like my chair just mentioned. I joined the organization in January of this year. So I must begin by expressing my gratitude to you, the shareholders, for confirming my appointment as the managing director of this crucial organization. I take this job with a deep sense of honor and pride, but also with a sober reflection on the challenges of the organization and indeed the development challenge that housing presents to the continent. I would also like to thank the board of directors for their confidence in my person and my commitment to the new vision of the organization. I'm also compelled to thank you all for your presence today and for participating in our AGM in the short time that I have been the managing director. One thing that is very apparent is the commitment, the dedication, and more importantly, the expectation our shareholders have for the organization. In the last month and the last few months, one of my key activities has been stakeholder engagement. During that time, I have had the privilege to meet with some of our honorable ministers and their teams, our shareholders and stakeholders, and the conversation constantly circles back to the same thing, the need for stability and enhancing shareholder value. To those concerns, my response is that the organization is experiencing a rebirth, a retooling, what we have termed now a new dawn. At the heart of this is a strategy that refocuses the organization to deliver impact, and by doing so, enhances shareholder value. During the week, you will hear a lot of references made to the new dawn and new strategy. And while we'll have more time to delve into details, I would like to provide a few highlights here. Our new strategy focuses on 4 main pillars. So the first pillar is providing funding and unfunded sort of instruments to financial institutions to address the demand side. Then the second pillar is addressing the supply side of housing, which is financing projects in the large-scale housing initiatives. The third pillar is developing PPPs with governments. And finally, the fourth one is thematic housing fund management and advisory services. The new strategic plan envisages a streamlined approach, which allows us to reach the end users by establishing new product structures such as employer staff housing funds, green resilience homes, and rent-to-own financing. Over the years, as you will all note, we have changed the way we conduct our AGMs, and we have expanded our multilateral engagement and activities to enhance shareholder value. The theme for this year is the political economy of the built environment. We have arrived at this theme because we believe that the connection between the physical development of housing and how it is influenced by the political economy is muted. For instance, the quantum of the housing deficit is often a matter of contention in our countries. How can we adequately draft policies or implement any of the housing programs if we do not adequately account for the housing deficit or demand? Additionally, we need to begin to tie affordable housing into less apparent sections of our economy. There is a proven relationship between home ownership and security. Obviously, rioters are less likely to destroy their own property. That will be the topic of the ministerial roundtable session tomorrow on Tuesday, which begins our engagements. On Wednesday, we will continue the discussions and exposition on Wednesday with a symposium. And on Thursday, we will have an opportunity to present the financial performance of the company and explain the reason we have taken some of the decisions that we have taken, which are very bold and daring decisions we've taken to really address the history of Shelter Afrique and move forward. Most importantly, on Thursday, we will be looking at also the new vision of the institution, the new strategy, and some of the work that is being undertaken to review the statutes of the organization. Your Excellencies, honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to recognize and appreciate the support and guidance we have received from the AGM Bureau, especially the stewardship of Honorable Daniel Gawe. Please, a round of applause for Excellency Daniel Gawe, Minister of Zimbabwe. He has really assumed the role of chairperson during a period of transition that was very challenging for the organization, and whose steady hand and calming presence has been necessary and welcome as the organization continues to evolve. I must also thank the host minister, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, CON, whose continued and vocal interventions and support have steadied the organization on more than one occasion. Please, round of applause for Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola. Nigeria remains one of the key markets for the organization for clear reasons. And while we have a storied history with the organization, our latest foray into the market was the issuance last year of 46 billion nairas, the equivalent of about $110 million, bond to fund affordable housing projects in local currency. And this is part of an MTN program, which will go over 3 years of about $500 million in local currency. So this is the sort of intervention we want to do in all of your countries. Get local currency to fund the sector. The lessons learned and the success of this last issuance in Nigeria it will definitely allow us to approach other member countries with the same objective. I must also note the diligence and hard work of the local organizing committee of Nigeria, headed by Permanent Secretary Engineer B. Essen, under the leadership of His Excellency Minister of State for Works and Housing, His Excellency Umar Ibrahim El Yaqub, and really thank the whole team that has worked tirelessly to make this event possible. As many of you know, I'm from the Republic of Guinea, a country of the coast of West Africa, not very far from here. The capital is Conakry, not to be confused with many of the other Guineas in Africa. We understand that Africa is not a monolith, and it houses many cultures, nations, languages, and creeds. However, my Guinean story may as well be part of the story of every African. As a child, I studied under the lamppost of my streets for exams, as there were frequent electricity cuts, like many of us have experienced in our childhood. And definitely I can see that I can sense the silence in the room, because I'm sure a lot of you have also experienced the same. Housing is a distinctively African matter. It is our DNA. How we are housed and how well we are housed matters, and that is why Shelter Afrique matters for Africa. If we leave the sessions only recognizing this fact, I think it would have been a resounding success. I hope that all delegates will get a chance to reveal in the warm hospitality of the Nigerian people. I wish you all a pleasant week and fruitful deliberations, and I hope that I will be able to engage with you all personally. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful AGM.
Let's give the MD of Shelter Afrique another warm round of applause for his very lucid and comprehensive address about how the company is doing and the vision for the future. We welcome equally the Acting PAMSEC of Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, Engineer Follow Shoeson. You're most welcome. Thank you. Housekeeping, please. The conveniences are just by your right as God. And in case of fire, please, you use the back exit and the side exits. Just housekeeping matters. Thank you. Then for the headphones, English is 1 and French is channel 2. English is 1, French is channel 2. There's simultaneous interpretation going on. The Nigerian Police Band predates the 1914 amalgamation of our country. It was initially known as the Corps of Drums and was established in 1892 in the Lagos colony and later became the Nigerian Police Band in November 1897. The police band is a military-style band operated and sponsored by the Nigerian Police Force. The police band provides ceremonial support for civic events and performs police observances, such as funerals and police academy graduations. The police band consists exclusively of professional police officers, while it might consist of personnel from other law enforcement and special agencies, like the military bands, whose repertoire mostly consists of ceremonial marching music and honor music. That's national anthem and fanfares. The Nigerian Police Band is currently headed by the Director of Music, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Favor R. Chino Yerem. So Nigeria complies fully with the Beijing Declaration of 1995. And I'll prove this as we go along. We're very, very gender friendly. So they will give us a serenade for 5 minutes. Nigerian Police Band, thank you. Let's give a round of applause to one enduring institution in our country. Thank you for that scintillating performance. Honorable Minister Daniel Garwe is a man who is passionate about human sentiments. He has an unparalleled history in the built environment, spanning over 32 years. And several projects in Zimbabwe are attributed to his expertise. He was a contractor well before he was elevated to become a minister. He is a quantity surveyor by profession with a wealth of experience. He is the outgoing chairman of Shelter Afrique Bureau. He is a person, the chairperson for Mashona Land, East Province, in the ruling ZANU-PF party. He is a member of parliament for Murewa North constituency in the Republic of Zimbabwe. Please help me welcome Honorable Dana Garwe, the outgoing chairman of IBDC. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. And once more, thank you, Police Band, for lightening the room. I see a lot of very serious faces in the room. Honorable ministers here present, where I come from, when you see serious faces such as the one that are in this room, they reflect two things. The first one, either there is a funeral or people do not have cash in their pockets. I don't think the two have visited us so far here. So please, let's brighten our faces and let's start by greeting people that are sitting close to us. Please greet, shake hands with the person that is sitting close to you. This is a business conference. We want to see more of those smiles than serious faces. I thank you. The Director of Ceremonies, Ambassador Kin Oyateru, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yen Osimbajo, here in ably represented by the Minister of Housing and Works, Advocate Fashola, the first chairperson of the Bureau of Shelter Afrique, and our host minister, the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola. The second vice chairperson of the AGM Bureau and the Minister of Infrastructure in the Republic of Rwanda, Dr. Ernest Zambimana, our shareholders and the heads of delegation of the 44 member states and institutional shareholders. Let me also recognize the board, management, and staff of Shelter Afrique. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize the delegation that visited Nigeria with me from the Republic of Zimbabwe and the ambassador in Nigeria from the Republic of Zimbabwe, Mr. Ranga, here present. members of the press corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to join you today to mark the 42nd Shelter Afrique Annual General Meeting and Symposium here in Abuja, in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is a reverse mirror image of the 36th AGM we hosted in 2017. The Republic of Nigeria was the outgoing chairperson of the AGM Beru, while Zimbabwe was the incoming chairperson. What a coincidence. Today, Zimbabwe is the outgoing chairperson, Nigeria is the incoming chairperson. It sounds spiritual. Esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year where we gather and introspect on how Shelter Afrique has fared in its mandate in the last 12 months in mobilizing affordable housing finance and facilitate the delivery of social housing in various member states. Fellow Africans, we are now seated here at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel, reflecting on our successes and failures since the 41st AGM hosted in Victoria Falls in the Republic of Zimbabwe in July 2022. We now continue to ask ourselves some questions, whether we've done enough in the delivery of well-planned, well-governed settlements in both our rural and urban commitments, or whether we enjoy coming to offices and talking and drinking tea. Rural transformation, therefore, becomes a vital cog in this endeavor as we strive to bridge the gap between rural and urban divides. The right to shelter is a constitutional provision across the continent and beyond. Our Pan-African Bank is therefore expected to complement the efforts exerted by our respective member states as the continent gravitates towards Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, the Africa with no pit latrines, the Africa with no Blair toilets, the Africa with properly planned and governed settlements, the Africa we want. Esteemed delegates, the conventional method of construction, as we continue to deploy them, need to be complemented by the application of alternative building technologies which ensure efficient delivery of sustainable, modern, and affordable settlements. All this is in tandem with contemporary global trends. The continent has experienced devastating natural phenomena such as cyclones and persistent droughts, whose adverse effects have untimely killed our loved ones, internally displaced many people, and severely destroyed existing infrastructure. A case in point is the recently experienced Cyclone Freddy in the SADC region, where settlements were destroyed in Madagascar, in Mauritius, Mozambique, and Malawi. Infrastructure can be salvaged, but lives lost cannot be. We therefore need to adopt technologies, building techniques that ensure sustainability as we move forward. Now the challenge that is incumbent upon us, ladies and gentlemen, is how do we reduce the impact of such natural disasters? How do we save lives? How effective are our disaster risk reduction mechanisms, or what technologies can make our settlements more sustainable and resilient to the vagaries of these incessant natural disasters? As we gather here this week, let us all reflect on whether housing delivery strategies we are implementing are climate proofed. The significance of green strategies and technologies cannot be overemphasized. On behalf of the shareholders, the 41st AGM Beru and the Republic of Zimbabwe, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to congratulate the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Shelter Afrique Board and Management, for putting together such a gigantic event. Personally, I have had the opportunity to sample the delights of the city of Abuja since I arrived on Saturday, and I can confess that the welcome is unbelievable. The traditional cuisine is delicious and medicinal. The people are so loving. The people are so loving, they are courteous and hospitable, such as what you received in Victoria Falls. Fellow African citizens, we have not been to Zimbabwe and Victoria Falls in particular. We warmly invite you to visit the country and we stand ready to receive you. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, popularly known as ED, extends a warm welcome to you all. To the business community, his clarion call is Zimbabwe is open for business. May you please come and explore the investment opportunities as you also enjoy our diverse tourist destinations. I so thank you.
Let's give a warm round of applause to Honorable Dana Galway for his remarks. He is no doubt an effective salesperson for Zimbabwe. Well, since Honorable Gawo said we're too serious, before we get into the serious business, let me present just another piece of Nigerian cultural. Now you find that, yes, please come forward. We are Beijing compliant. No, not yet. Out of the drummers, we have, yes, what are the other drummers, please? We have, not just one, we have 4 men and 3 women. So we're getting there. The FCT performing troupe is the custodian of the culture, in many places, of the indigenous people of the Federal Capital Territory, which translates to the cultural heritage of Nigeria. The troupe is a troupe of choice for receiving presidents, heads of government, and very important guests like your good selves to our country. The troupe has also represented Nigeria at the various events and festivals, promoting Nigerian culture and heritage. The drums have been part of African culture. They have been and are still a very good means of communication. This performance is a good testament to the power and the beauty of African drums. The performance is led by the young ladies who are proving that the art of drumming is solely not a man's word. Please enjoy the drum assembly. The African drum does really communicate. Please, let's give them another warm round for that scintillating performance. Thank you so much. A point of clarification, please, Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Ms. Zainab Ahmed, will be representing the President, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, GCFR. So when the time comes, she will present Mr. President's address. We are not done yet with Beijing. I hope you will tell me I'm suffocating you. We have a very young lady here, highly talented and a poet. Her name is Usman Latifa Oyiza, otherwise known as Pearl Tiva. A native, please make your way forward here, a native of Kogi and Igbiraba tribe. She studied architecture. Please welcome her, she come forward. And the steps. Thank you. She studied architecture at the prestigious Federal University of Technology, Minna, Niger State, and is currently running over a master's program in architecture at the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State. Alongside being a spoken word poet, he's also a pidgin voiceover artist and does voiceovers for architectural commercials. You can also find out more about her works on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media applications. She believed that architecture is for humanity rather than being a profession. The title of our word poetry is The Happy Zone, the house as a structure. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you Latifat Oziza. You must.
Good day, everyone. Permit me to stand on existing protocols. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome to this program. So basically, my spoken words is trying to talk about architecture, what the role of architecture is in the political built environment. Thank you. There's a little humor with it, just follow through. I'm sure you would enjoy it. Thank you very much. I am an architect. I can make lines wiggle and jiggle like the Maasai dance. I can even make them bend low and komole like the Bata dance, or perhaps make them leap and limp like Atilog dance, or maybe we just try them in pairs like Oroso dance. Maybe Juju be that. You can call me a magician. With my superpowers, I can make them lines. You can call me a magician. With my superpowers, I can make them lines and angles. Sorry, pardon me. Call me a magician. Call me a magician. With my superpowers, I can paint your thoughts to papers, turn your nightmares into sunshine. I can even make them angles and curves of your aku and ikon soup to make your conceptual analysis. Wouldn't you like your next house to look like your best food? Oga, madam, let us just do your thing. Let us do your specs. You can call me a fashionista. Anything we do it in style. Any way you invite me, come. Now maybe the jagaban with my drip straw. Now that's one be our specialty. Now that's one be our specialty. Double toilet for you, my Oga, madam, sir. Call me Mr. Fixer. I can make your problems fly away. I can even design your interior design with NCBD symbols. All this one, I just be saying, make your enemies not know your next mood. Wouldn't you like me to do that for you? Just tell me, I know how to pepper them die. You can also call me an art doctor. I can design your space to heal and prevent you from all those yama diseases. All I need to do is to increase your headroom. Also, make sure there's passive cooling mechanisms in your homes. I can also make sure active design and healthy living features is in your homes. All these things, by the time I do everything, premium enjoyment, all those diseases go wrong, go. You can also call me a poet. With my sixth sense, I can make lines and angles come to where your heart lies and dines. I can even make a space clear enough for Yemisi and Uche to fall in love. All these things I can even create a safe haven for Yemisi and Uche to fall in love. All this is so that their love can get to that height oh God Almighty. Sorry. No, I can do it. Thank you. I am a poet. With my sixth sense, I can make lines meet with your heart, where your heart lies and dines. Make them flow and spin like butterflies in your tummy. I can even create a safe haven for Yemisi and Uche to fall in love. I be Shakespeare's siblings. I don't sound like check me out now. The point is, don't you ever allow anyone to think that to just draft is just being an architect. Bring your 2 times 2, go turn them to 22. Architecture will be just by hand. This one to follow, join. Thank you very much.
Let's give her another warm round of applause. She's an architect and wanted us to see what an architect could do to the built environment. Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, CON, is a law graduate of the University of Benin. And after a 14-year stint in private law practice as a litigator, has had a public service career that is now over 2 decades long. In that period of public service, he has served as Chief of Staff and Commissioner in the Lagos State Government. He's a 2-term governor of Lagos and is now serving his 2nd term as Minister of the Federal Republic, having been appointed in 2015 and reappointed in 2019. Babatunde Fashola was called to the Nigerian bar in November 1988. His career as a barrister started in the law firm of Shofunde, Osakwe, Ogundipe, and Begore, where he engaged in general litigation over diverse areas like company law, labor disputes, commercial law, criminal law, matrimonial laws, and others. As an advocate, Mr. Fashola has distinguished himself. In August 2004, he was conferred with the rank of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SAN. As a public servant, he has served with no less distinction and dedication, and has been acknowledged locally and internationally for his dedication and service. Mr. Babatunde Fashola's son is a recipient of the prestigious Stephen J. Solas Award for International Crisis Group in 2015 for his commitment to building a peaceful and vibrant society. His work to improve social and economic conditions in Lagos, including his role in preventing the Ebola outbreak from becoming a crisis in Nigeria. He was listed in 2014 as one of the 100 top global thinkers for the 2013 by the Global Personality Assessment Organization, Ruspaso della Politica, based in Italy and Brussels. The Time magazine has commended him for the overhaul of Lagos infrastructure, while the Economist magazine acknowledged him as a rare good man and a governor who does his job well. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the current Minister of Works and Housing, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN-CON.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, ably represented this morning by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Samsuna Zainab Ahmed, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, represented by the Permanent Secretary, my colleague and brother, the Honorable Minister of State, Ibrahim El Yakub, brothers and sisters, ministers from the continent of Mother Africa, representing various countries. Let me, on behalf of my country, our government, and our people, express my warm welcome to you at this 42nd AGM of our company. I think we had what you can call a slow start a few moments back, but I think that very, very appropriately, the police band with the coat of many colors began to breathe life into what appeared to be a cold start. And I saw some heads beginning to nod in acknowledgement. And my very good brother, the outgoing chairman of the AGM, Daniel Gawe, Honorable MP and Minister, appropriately challenged us to ask if we were mourning or we didn't have cash. And in that way, injected some warmth into the moment. And since then, I think the room has been getting warmer. Do you agree? So of course, what better way to raise the temperature after yesterday's rain than the African drums? And from low temperature heat, we started seeing energy. I saw a lot of cameras going up and making recordings. And perhaps in order to provide stability, that very brilliant young architect has proven that she can moderate things with the very solemn and meandering thoughts she challenged us with architecture. It is just now my duty and responsibility to say a few words as we head to the very end of this opening ceremony. And I start by acknowledging, as my very worthy brother said, that it is almost 8 years now to the day when, on behalf of Nigeria, I first took office as chairman of the AGM of Shelter AFRIQUE, and I received our brothers and sisters from across the great African continent. We did so under the banner and the brand of Shelter AFRIQUE, by which we are bound together on a shared journey of African patriotism to reduce inequality amongst our people by making shelter accessible, affordable, and dignifying, as our founders intended when they created this company. Today, I feel very proud to say that Shelter AFRIQUE that hosts you this morning is a much stronger company and a better version of what I inherited in 2016. By the collective action of our member states and our development partners and our board and management staff, we have surmounted very difficult challenges, some of which threatens the continued existence of this company at one time. Yes, it is true. I think I'm the oldest serving minister because many of the others with change of government have gone. There was a time we were looking, look, should we go back to the African Union and tell them to wind down this company? That was how serious it was. But today the company stands and is better positioned. And with every sense of modesty, I am happy to announce that my own country, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has played a commendable role in that collective action that has kept the company alive. Between the 2016 AGM, that was the 35th, and this year's AGM, which is the 42nd, Nigeria has made contributions of about $5.9 million in 2017, $9.392 million in 2020, and $7,151,000 in 2022, making a total sum of $22,503,144.84. This has brought Nigeria's shareholding in the company to 15.80%, now valued at $30,724,961 For a company that was struggling for funding in 2016, this was a much needed injection of life-restoring capital. And I must say that other members have responded to this kind of contribution. So it wasn't Nigeria acting alone, but it was Nigeria providing some leadership that all the member states have responded to. But beyond financial capital, Nigeria also contributed perhaps the most important capital, the human capital. At that time of turbulence, Nigeria seconded Mr. Femi Adewale to provide interim leadership for the company at perhaps its most turbulent period. And from there on, right to the leadership of my colleague and brother, Honorable Daniel Gawe, this company, as I said, is a much better company. And let me say here that this is a real Daniel that has come to judgment, and he has come to good judgment. Because he came to judgment in very troubled times. And he took some decisions, even which the impact of those decisions went very close home. But he was able to follow his conviction. So with this background, as we convene today, I can say with a measure of confidence that for Shelter Afrique, the dark clouds are gone and a bright new future of renewed hope certainly lies ahead. I say this especially bearing in mind the leadership now provided by our company's board and our company's management, both respectively led by Dr. Chi Apoji and Mr. Tiana Habib Han. Please, I think they deserve a round of applause. On the domestic front, I am pleased to report an increasing private sector participation in the delivery of an assortment of housing types for low and high income demand in Nigeria. With the control that they have over land within our federal constitutional arrangement, state governments are also playing their roles in the supply of housing from the first state, Abia, to the last one in Zamfara, if you follow alphabetical order. These contributions to increasing housing supply are complemented by the federal government with initiatives such as the National Housing Program that has delivered houses across 35 states and the FCT, Abuja, which are also complemented by federal housing estates across our 6 geopolitical zones, and the Federal Mortgage Bank Ministerial Housing Scheme, and the cooperative housing initiatives across the 36 states in our country. Before I conclude my remarks, let me report some policy and process reforms that have been initiated or implemented since 2016. And I believe this is important, given my view that at every AGM, it is the sum total of what the states have done at the domestic level that furthers the vision of the founding fathers. So one of the policy and process reforms that I am happy to report is the removal of the condition for a 10% equity contribution by a mortgage applicant to our Federal Mortgage Bank for any mortgage in the sum of 5 million and below, and the reduction of the 15% equity contribution to 10% for mortgage applicants over 5 million naira. So what we have done first is that people from the 5 million threshold downwards don't have to pay that 10% again, because for some of them, it's just an existential demand. And this has helped to reduce and to remove some of the barriers for access to funding for housing purposes. But while funding is critical, so is access to land. And some of the things that we have done, something I'm proud to say that we have done as we wind down our tenure, is with respect to the Federal Lands Registry. For those who are not very familiar with our land titling system, the federal government has its own register of titles, while the individual states have theirs. So it is the federal one that is under our superintendent. And what we have done is to fully digitize that Federal Land Registry. So today I can report that over 50,000 files containing different individual, corporate, and governance land title records, 50,000 files, comprising 2,476,400 pages of documentation have been fully scanned and digitized. What this indicates is that processes that used to take weeks and sometimes months can now be undertaken in about 24 hours, and we will go live in a matter of days. But beyond that, we have also issued 6,685 certificates of occupancy. These are the title documents under Nigerian law. So some of the people who have been waiting to have these titles, over 6,685 of them have been responded to. And we have also issued 3,043 consents. Consents are approvals for subsequent transactions, either for mortgages or for sale of land or sale of houses. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is more to do, but we approach that challenge with optimism, and I dare say with renewed hope that our leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, has laid some foundations upon which our president-elect, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, can build a future of renewed hope for those still in need of shelter. Yes, our government is in transition because we now have a president-elect and a president whose term is winding down. And in similar vein, in 20 days, by midnight, my tenure as Minister of Works and Housing will expire. My successor will take over Nigeria's seat as the chairman of the AGM in our company. In the interim, as I warm up to take over today from the Daniel in judgment, Honorable Gawi, let me as your host, excuse me, let me as your host bid you all a very warm welcome to our beautiful country, blessed with enormous diversity of people, culture, and cuisine. Again, as Daniel himself has acknowledged, please make sure, like Daniel, that you enjoy and explore some of this diversity. I welcome you to Nigeria. I welcome you to the home of the largest number of Black people in the world. Thank you for listening.
Let's give the Honorable Minister another round of warm applause for his very honest, open, and challenging remarks. Thank you, sir. Now, it is my honor and singular pleasure to invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, to present the address of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, GCFR. Please welcome her as she prepares. Thank you.
Please sit down. Please sit down. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is today ably represented by the Minister of Works and Housing. The Minister of Works and Housing, in his own stead, Mr. Raji Babatunde Fashola, SANG-CON, the Minister of Works and Housing, my brother, the HMFCT, our host, represented today by his permanent secretary, the chair of Shelter Afrique, Madam, our sister, good day, and also the chairperson of the Bureau, Honorable Minister of Zimbabwe, of Works and Housing Zimbabwe, honorable ministers, African honorable ministers that are here either in person or represented, shareholders of Shelter Afrique, members of the press, the Nigerian police band, who has done well to soothe us with their good music, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start, first of all, as the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, just acknowledge that the investment that Nigeria has in Shelter Afrique is one of the best performing investments that we have. And also the decision the Shelter Afrique took to float 46 billion Naira bond in the Nigerian capital market is a very important catalytic investment, especially for the development of the Nigerian capital market, but also for the development of the building industry. And I want to congratulate you all for taking that very important decision. So here today, I'm been assigned to represent an address by His Excellency, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Muhammad Buhari, CFR, at this opening ceremony of the 42nd Annual General Meeting and Symposium of Shelter Afrique, held today at the Transcorp Hilton, Abuja. Let me just preface by saying that in the speech, wherever you hear I or me, is referring to His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari. So I read the President's address. I welcome you all to Nigeria and to the 42nd Annual General Meeting and Symposium of Shelter Afrique. I appreciate the opportunity given our country to host the rest of Africa at this time and to wish and note that this is momentous for us. You're most likely aware that the current federal administration, of which I am privileged to lead, is in this season of winding down. To this end, this meeting is auspicious for rendering stewardship and showcasing some aspects of the achievements of our administration within the ambit of national economic growth and development. In Nigeria, the size and scope of the challenging financing, housing infrastructure has continued to cascade over the years. This was why our administration confronted national infrastructure deficits as one of its most important priority agendas. Today, records show that there is an attestation to the comparability of the massive investments and matching achievements we have made in this sector. Permit me, therefore, to use this opportunity to commend the roles played by the leadership of the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, being the immediate host of this AGM and symposium, in driving the mandates and targets issued by the presidency to guarantee focused outcomes. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, your choice of the theme for this meeting, that is the importance of political economy in the built environment, is apt and is sublime. There is an urgent need to continue to interrogate the interconnectivity and establish the delicate balance amongst politics, social structures, economy, and fiscal development within a national space. It suffices to state that the political economy in African countries are in different stages of maturity. Hence, proper understanding and isolation of key characteristics, traits, and the uniqueness of the operative political economy of the individual states provides the key to sustainable interventions and prosperity of the built environment of that nation. As a continental institution committed to making positive impacts on the built environment in Africa, it will be your best interest to leverage on the outcomes of the 42nd AGM Symposium to set up a stronger launch pad for future intervention projects and investment programs in concerned nation states. In our capacity as a frontline shareholder and key stakeholder, Nigeria eagerly looks forward to a more prosperous future for Shelter Afrique. Now is the time to step over current global financial constraints and corporate management setbacks and thereby reposition this company into a formidable agent of change of the built environment landscape of African nations. As you proceed in this meeting, let me reassure you of the unflinching commitment of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to Shelter Afrique. Our modest role in this company so far is a demonstration of our strong conviction in the vision and the mission of this company. We trust that this belief shall be further encouraged by the performance of the company in the foreseeable future. On behalf of the government and the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I hereby declare the 42nd Annual General Meeting and Symposium of Shelter Afrique open. I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.
Let's listen. Please give the Honorable Minister another warm round of applause. We thank the Honorable Minister for the eloquent presentation of the address of Mr. President. I will note with keen interest the incisiveness, insightfulness, guidance, and encouragement. And I can assure you that both the board, management, and participants at this meeting will take them to heart and on board. Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I will call on the chairperson of Shelter Afrique to present a gift to Mr. President, who is our guest of honor, And the Honorable Minister of Finance will receive the guest on behalf of Mr. President. Like I told you, we are Beijing compliant. Yes, please stand beside him for photo. MD.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of the board, management, and staff of Shelter Afrique, we're very pleased to present this token appreciation of the long and enduring support of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to Shelter Afrique. We wish to present this token to the President, His Excellency General Muhammadu Buhari, GCON, ably represented here by Her Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a very strong supporter of Shelter Afrique in her own right. We thank you for your support, and please accept this token on behalf of the board and management of Shelter Afrique.
Thank you very much, Chair. So on behalf of His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I accept and I will transmit this lovely eagle and its baby eagles to His Excellency the President, inshallah, today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
It's a bit heavy.
Thank you, sir.
Now, let me say that there is a cocktail this evening to which all of you are invited. The ushers, we distribute the invitation card during the coffee break. It is at the Carlton, the Wells Carlton Hotel in Abuja, this evening at 7. Now, it is my distinct honor and privilege to invite the Honorable Minister of State for Works and Housing, Honorable Umar Ibrahim Ali Yakub, to move the vote of thanks. Honorable Minister, sir, please give me applause. Thank you.
Your Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Budget and National Planning, Hajia Zainab Shamsuna Ahmed, Your Excellency Babatunde Raji Fashola, my senior brother and leader, Honorable Minister of Works and Housing, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Malam Muhammad Musa Bello, Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Honorable Daniel Garwe, Minister for National Housing and Social Amenities of the Republic of Zimbabwe and Chairman of the 41st Bureau of Shelter Afrique, Honorable Ministers from Shelter Afrique member states, distinguished heads of delegation and the delegates, Dr. Chi Akpoji, Chairperson, Board of Shelter AFRIQUE, members of the Board of Shelter AFRIQUE, Mr. Thiano Habib Han, Managing Director, Shelter AFRIQUE, representatives of federal and state government ministries, agencies, and parastatals, special guests, members of the press. Your Excellencies, just like my brother, the Honorable Minister, mentioned his relationship with Shelter AFRIQUE, I believe my story also as a Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Works, has a relationship with Shelter AFRIQUE. Instantly, it was my first official engagement which the minister sent me before I even met him in the ministry, because when I was sworn in as a minister, he was on a short leave and he called to tell me to please find time and represent him in Victoria Falls for the Shelter AFRIQUE AGM. And again, as we are winding down, I believe this will be my last official national or international engagement, and it's ending with Shelter AFRIQUE. So I think somehow also have a story of Shelter AFRIQUE to tell. And indeed, just like Honorable Minister Garwe mentioned how he has already started enjoying the Nigerian hospitality and the cuisine, let me also appreciate and thank Honorable Minister Garwe for that warm hospitality in Victoria Falls. And also to say that even though I was a bit under the weather whilst I was at Victoria Falls, I was able to somehow find time to enjoy the breathtaking view of one of the magical wonders of the world, of course, the Victoria Falls. And please, sir, if I may request you, Honorable Minister, to please extend my appreciation to Honorable Minister Garwe for also inviting me again, and now he said today as a family when I exit. So I'll be going back, inshallah, to Victoria Falls as a tourist under the invitation of Engineer Garwe. Thank you very much. I'm most honored on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria to be invited to extend the vote of thanks as we come to the close of this opening ceremony, which kicks off with our week-long activities of the 42nd Annual General Meeting and Symposium of the Shelter AFRIQUE. First and foremost, I wish to extend sincere appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, who is ably represented by the Honorable Minister of Finance and Budget and National Planning, for graciously accepting to declare this event open. Words are insufficient to thank Your Excellency for your inspiring leadership, commitment, and support towards realizing the principles and ideals of decent and affordable housing provisions for all our citizens. We equally thank all the honorable ministers from shareholding member states, board members of Shelter AFRIQUE, partners, and a wide array of other distinguished delegates and stakeholders who came from far and near to witness this auspicious occasion. We thank you for blessing us with your presence while equally acknowledging your varied efforts in housing provision in your different regions and localities. We encourage you to sustain this spirit for the benefit of our people, future generations, and for others to emulate. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me with a deep sense of gratitude to also recognize the gracious support of our sister ministries, government agencies and parastatals present with us. I seize this opportunity to appreciate our close partners, the Federal Ministry of Federal Capital Territory, Federal Housing Authority, Federal Mortgage Bank, the Federal Ministry of Finance for their kind support, which is also extended to this event. We acknowledge your inspiring efforts and contributions to increasing the national housing stock. Mr. President recently commissioned the new Federal Housing Authority Zuba Housing Estate, comprising 748 units built through our public-private partner efforts. The estate is penned down for a visit by distinguished delegates, I believe, this week. Similarly, let me in the same vein appreciate the presence and kind contribution for all other housing finance institutions, developers, built environment professionals and organizations at both national and state levels for their contributions towards advancing housing provisions in Nigeria. We are grateful to you all. Permit me at this juncture, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, to extend deep thanks to the board management and the staff of Shelter Afrique for the great services offered over the years, which have led to marked positive transformation in the financing and delivering of housing and housing-related infrastructure in Africa. The guidance extended to us at various stages of the preparations for this 42nd AGM is also well appreciated. I further want to acknowledge and thank the media representatives for a great job of widely publicizing all our activities. I urge you in the same good spirit to give extensive media coverage to the proceedings at this 42nd AGM and Symposium for the benefit of the public, including best practices, innovative ideas, lessons expected to emanate from the ministerial roundtable discussions, which is on the data question, which are the numbers, and harmonizing of housing market data in sub-Saharan Africa. This comes up on Tuesday, and the Symposium on Political Economy in the Built Environment on Wednesday. Housing market dynamics in Africa cannot be understood without a comprehensive grasp of the political economy of the housing sector. The Nigerian housing and built environment industry have a potential and opportunities to be explored by the public, private, and other relevant stakeholders, which can only be achieved by partnerships and collaboration between the relevant institutions locally and internationally. This array of programs slated as part of the AGM week are expected to catalyze opportunities in the affordable housing and built environment industry in Nigeria and Africa at large. Finally, I must convey special thanks to the local organizing committee for working around the clock to ensure the success of this event. We also appreciate the delightful entertainment from the cultural troupe, the fine rendition by the poet, and the melodious tunes provided by the Nigerian Police Band. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude by thanking you all for gracing this event. We appreciate the time spent with us and wish you all a memorable stay in Abuja. Enjoy the events, and also please do take time to enjoy our beautiful capital city, Abuja. Thank you very much.
We thank the Honorable Minister of State for thanking us. Please, let's give him a warm round of applause. Good, and just housekeeping. There is going to be just a meeting of members of the Bureau and Minister with the press, just short interview after this. It will be on the red carpet. The Director of Press will lead you there. And then maybe a group photograph just before you leave the stage. And then to say during the coffee break, it will be served at the foyer upstairs. The ushers and everybody would direct you there. And then the exhibition stands just behind me here. We invite you all to take a tour. And a reminder once again, there's a cocktail this evening at 7 p.m. So I invite all of us to stand up for the Nigerian national anthem. Please, let's stand up all for Nigerian national anthem. Please, after the anthem. It has been a privilege to be your uncle this afternoon, and I wish you all a splendid afternoon. Thank you. So, photographs, please, if you can just come a bit forward, all Minister, MD, and everybody, please. MD? No, please, can you, the aides, just wait. Wait, the aides should just wait, please. Wait until after the photograph, please. I don't want you appearing in the photograph. Please, can you move back? Other ministers, please come up and join them here for photograph.